Yo, what's happening? It's your host Tinto. Welcome to another episode of The Feeling Station. And before we get into the usual business, I really need you to listen to this part because today's episode is proudly brought to you by Shumba Money. And Shumba Money provides safe, fast, and easy money transfers from the UK, Australia, and Canada to Zimbabwe. And what makes Shumba Money different is that they don't charge you any transaction fees for sending any amount less than $200. And yeah, you guys heard right. Zero transaction fees when you send up to $200, and your recipient can collect from their Newlands branch in Harare or any National Building Society branch in Zimbabwe. So, what's there for you to do? Sign up on www.shumbamoney.com today and start sending. Shumba Money, trust the pride.
Is that a breakup?
I think we have a situation right here.
On the Feeling Station.
Welcome to The Feeling Station, a podcast that touches on romantic, family, and friendship breakup stories that people would like to talk about with a view to give lessons from my guest's experience. I hope you find the stories entertaining, but more importantly, meaningful given the lessons behind everything we're going to talk about today. Now, the podcast is popular for two main reasons. The first being I try and keep my guests anonymous, which brings me to the fun part, right? The part where I give you the name you're going to use for the duration of the episode.
Yay.
You ready for this?
Yeah. Let's go.
So, your name is from Libya, which means it's in Arabic.
Oh, nice.
And your name is Nabila.
Nabila.
Yeah, Nabila. And that means somebody who's noble and excellent.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Are you,
Alarm chopped already.
would you describe yourself as a noble person?
Oh, yes, I am
And-
very.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very
you see,
noble. Can you hear it from my voice?
This is why
noble.
this is why I was laughing, right? Because it's so bait. Nobody's ever gonna say I'm
No?
not a noble person.
Who's
I'm
gonna
not
say
an
that?
excellent person.
I'm very excellent.
Okay, so Nabila is your name. What are you calling the guy you're gonna talk about today?
I'm gonna call him my guy Matela.
Matela.
Yes.
Okay, what does that mean?
Matela is a Ndebele name
Okay,
of someone
from where? Which country?
from Zimbabwe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And Matela means to someone who asks. So when you hear the story, I think you'll get it.
I'll
This
put
is someone
two and
who's
two together.
asking too much.
Right.
So
okay.
Matela.
Ay.
Ish.
Okay, Matela. So the story is about Nabila and Matela. And the second reason why the podcast is really popular is that there are real life lessons that people are going to learn from the story you're going to share. So,
Yeah.
do you have any lessons for me?
Of course. See, the first one is it's risky dating and development. And I have my reasons.
You almost got me in a coughing fit there. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
realize I'm pardon developing myself.
Yeah. It's
So
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So now I'm already
Yeah.
feeling the type of way about where this is going. I am literally
Do you know what?
half. My Ndebele side comes from my
Yeah.
dad's side. My Shona side comes from my mom's side.
well, you know what?
And I've lived in both regions for
Yeah.
an equal amount of years. So I'm
Yeah.
as pure half as they can get.
It's gonna depend. Now it depends how
what?
my story goes. If you feel like you fit into those boxes,
Ah.
then hey, I mean, what am I supposed to say?
I can't believe where this is going. Oh, for starters, yeah, you call the guy Matela, which is somebody who asks.
Yes.
And I was like, hey, do you feel like telling a story? So I'm already asking. So are you saying I'm already fitting? I don't think I like where this is going.
Well, do you know what? What we can do is after the story, if you rather than asking and you buy me certain things, then maybe you can, you won't be a Matela, you be a giver instead. We can start there. We can see how this goes.
Okay, fine.
Mm-hmm.
So lesson number one that you have down there is it's risky dating in Tebele, man. Do you have a second lesson?
Yeah. Be conscious of financial grooming.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard of that before.
Yeah, I think it's something that I realized when everything ended that actually I felt like I was being financially groomed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah.
Okay. Do you have a third lesson?
Know when to leave and leave.
Ooh, power in that, man.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people know that they should leave,
Yeah.
but they can't muscle the strength to actually leave. So you're saying
Yeah.
not only know when it's time to leave, get on and
And actually get out. Leave.
Cool. That I think that sets us up quite nicely. Let's get into this Guan then. So, Nabila, where did you meet Matela and why did you decide? Yeah, this is the guy that I want to have as my boyfriend.
Well, so do you know what? I think actually remembering, I actually met him online on Facebook, and we had mutual friends.
You know, when you said online, Facebook is not one of those things that I was thinking of. I was
Did you
thinking
think online
Tinder,
dating?
Hinge, Bumble,
No.
Bumblebee. Oh, I don't even know what they're called.
I think this is
thought it was-
before.
So it was before all of them times.
I think, yeah. I mean, I'm sure those sites were there yet, but
Yeah.
I wasn't. I was still young enough. I was still young enough to meet someone on Facebook. If that makes sense.
What are you saying about the older folk who are trying to find
Hey.
love on the other apps?
Do you know what? You can find love online. Let me tell you that you can. Well, I don't know about Facebook because I didn't find love there. So I met him on Facebook, and we had mutual friends. So we then had mutual stories, if it makes sense. So we've grown up in the same area. You have stuff to talk about, and he was like, "Oh, you were here. Oh, yeah, I was here as well." So it became that kind of thing. And for 2-3 years, we were just purely friends. Never actually met him face to face.
Oh yeah.
But we got on. So it looked like we're chilling okay, we're getting on, we're fine.
So distance wise, where you lived versus where he lived.
Yeah.
Were you guys far or close?
We were in the same country. Maybe just the only thing would have been like a maybe 3-hour to 4-hour drive away from each other.
So you could have, if you guys really wanted to
Yeah,
meet. It's
yeah.
not like it was impossible.
Yeah,
Well,
we could have.
What stopped you from meeting then before that whole 3-year thing?
So between that time when we were talking, I think he was definitely with someone else,
Okay.
and I was with someone else.
Right.
So when I say talking, we weren't even like flirting or
You were just friends.
Yeah, we're just friends. I was in a serious relationship then as well, so there wasn't going to be anything like me stepping out at all.
Did your boyfriend know about Matela?
No, he didn't know. I mean, my boyfriend at that time, he lived in a different country. So long distance relationship for me was never a problem. So he lived in a different country, so he wouldn't have known all my friends, but he wasn't hidden. So, for example, like my Kala knew I had a boyfriend.
Yeah, that's Matela. I'm asking about your boyfriend.
So my boyfriend, when I was talking to my Kala, my boyfriend didn't know about my Kala in the sense that he didn't know about someone else I was talking to. Not in a, like I was saying, me and my Kala were not crossing boundaries. We're not flirting.
I get it, which is why it should be even the more easier for you to tell your boyfriend at the time about Matela.
Well, I could have told him if it come up, but my Kala never came up in our conversations.
But why didn't you bring him up? Oh yeah, there's this guy who I've been speaking to. I think is a really cool guy. His name is Matela.
Yeah, because my Kala wasn't that important like that. It was like, like going to the shops and you always meet the same person. You're like, hey, hi, what's up? And then that's it. So my talking to my Kala wasn't like an hour on the phone.
You wouldn't have lasted 3 years though.
No, but my talking to my Kala was like, you'd be like, happy birthday. It would be, hey, it's New Year, Happy New Year. It would be, hey, what's up? Long time, how you doing? Yeah, I'm cool, chill, bye. It was never like a long enough conversation to worry about it or to even think, like bring him up. My boyfriend and I then, we're quite open with each other. So it was...
It's not sounding very open.
No, we were very open.
Because I'm not saying that you should have.
Yeah.
But if Matela is in the picture, he's hanging around, he's been here for 3 years, and Matela knows about your boyfriend, but your boyfriend doesn't know about him, that for me is not the definition of open. Open for me means, hey, boo, I've met this guy on Facebook. His name is Matela. He seems like a really cool guy. We spend quite a bit of time talking. There's nothing for you to worry about, blah, 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 blah.
But see, my Kala wasn't even significant enough like that. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Let me not dwell on that. Yeah, let me not dwell on that. But I'm just saying, so something about that is kind of tells me or makes me feel like you deliberately didn't mention Matela to your boyfriend because you felt maybe there might be a hope of you guys becoming something at some point. So you didn't want the wahala of needing to explain that if that ever became the case.
Not really, because my boyfriend and I then, we were planning to get married. So my mind was nowhere near any other person. I was completely like sold out to the person I was with. So anything else happening outside wasn't really, my Gala was honestly not significant enough. So it was just one of those things I never thought about it. I think if he had said something to cross the boundaries or something to trigger something, I would have comfortably told my boyfriend then. And he dealt with things very well. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I detracted, right? So I'm gonna bring us back.
Okay.
So yes, you guys are friends. The 3 year mark comes of your friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Okay, so you're gonna laugh the next time I'm gonna say. So yes, when I broke up with my boyfriend, my Gala was there. It's just that.
right. Let's talk time frames. Let's say you broke up with your boyfriend in January. At what point did you and Matela become an item? Immediately, February.
Two
In
weeks.
time for Valentine's. What the actual?
2 weeks after, I have a reason.
You see, Matela is somebody who asks for stuff, yeah?
Yeah, my Gala
You
was
were asking for trouble yourself,
no.
right? By getting into this with this guy 2 weeks after you just broken up with your boyfriend,
My Gala
who
to
you
me.
claim you're in a serious relationship with.
Yes. My Gala, the problem was, I think my Gala became a rebound in the sense that I was really broken. So I will put my hands up. When I broke up with the person I was with, it was really painful. And even after my Gala, it took me, that's one of the reasons why stuff didn't happen with me and like we broke up my Gala was that I needed time on my own because I recognized that I hadn't gotten over the first guy I was with. Yeah. So my Gala came in when I was broken and crying, and he was like this superhero guy, and he's like comforting. And then part of me was also I was dealing with rejection. So when my Gala steps up and says, "I'm here," in my mind I was thinking, "Hey, I'm wanted somewhere." And it's not to say my boyfriend didn't want me. That wasn't even the case. Us breaking up was very mutual, but it just that some of the feelings I felt came across that way. It's I don't know how to explain
So
it.
you're basically saying that during your relationship with your serious long-term boyfriend, the things that were happening within that space made you feel rejected by him.
No.
So where's the rejection coming from?
I don't know where the rejection came from. I think I know it came from. I was 26, I think, 25. And I think the rejection was coming from thinking that at this time everybody's getting married and having and settling down. And suddenly I'm not, and something has failed again. So I'm like, by now I should be doing. So I had this expectation for what I should be doing. He didn't actually reject me. It's just our situation didn't allow us to get married. And that's another long story, but he didn't, we tried to fight and he tried to fight for me. That's one thing I'll say. But I think I was just dealing with,
Peer pressure.
yeah, and I'm 25 and your mom is saying to you, when are we going to get the grandkids and all my friends are getting married.
So it's not only peer pressure, it's parental pressure, it's societal
Yeah,
pressure,
very much.
cultural pressure.
Yeah, so very much that. So when that ended and everybody in my family is saying, we were just about to do the lobola, and then now suddenly, and then so having my Gela almost felt like, oh, maybe he's here, he's in this country, and this could work, and he's coming out as, I justified remember the 2-3 year friendship to be a good foundation, which it wasn't. But I justified it in such a way that it made me feel comfortable and almost like avoiding to deal with the pain of what I was actually going through.
So how did he know that now I can ask you out?
Of course, I told him when. So when you're now talking when I was breaking up with my boyfriend, I think I told him then, and he was doing the whole, "Oh, you're so special." Any guy would be like, "Good to have you."
Okay.
And so, and equally, I was saying, "Oh, it's not like So, but then, so eventually, by the time when I broke up with the dude, I just said to my Gala, "Hey, I'm single."
Did he celebrate?
Did I celebrate?
No, him. Was he happy? Was he excited?
I
What was
bet
his
he
reaction?
did. No, his reaction was like initially it was like a comfort thing, isn't it? But it was very short-lived comfort to I'm the man.
Obviously, I mean,
I'm the man
two
for
weeks
you.
between you crying and you becoming an item. I don't even know if short is the definition for it. Jeez.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, man. You guys did stuff in a jiffy.
Yeah, it happened.
Okay, so you then become boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
What did you like about him? I know you mentioned that it was a rebound, but you could have had a rebound with anybody under the sun.
Yeah.
For him, he was the perfect rebound for you. What is
Yeah.
it that you liked about Matela?
Mutala came across as this, I don't know how to describe, like a strong, stable guy. And he came across as someone who was in his identity, he knew who he was and what he was about. Whether it was stuff, and he came across more because I'm into like self growth and business, or like actually stepping out and or professional life, like really going out and I'm a goal getter. So he came across as similar to me, and he had just finished his masters, and so it was like. In my head, I was like, oh, we're going to have an empire. We're going to run a business together, and we could talk about those things. But he also was fun initially to be with, to be around, and I think having that thing of someone who's from the same city, we like similar things, and remembering stuff that we grew up around kind of gave us a bit of conversation. But also he was Christian, and and although he proper used this, I think like, this was kind of like the one of the reasons why everything went sour quickly is that he came across as very good and very loving, but also very prayerful, and very like a man of faith.
And you found that attractive?
I found that attractive. So I was like,
Okay.
oh, he knows the word, he loves God, and he's just like, I'm all about God. And equally, we can have good, clean fun. And it felt like everything is fine. So what's wrong with him? Why not?
Physical attraction.
Yeah.
What was that like? Were you attracted to him physically? Was he attracted to you physically?
I mean, of course he was attracted to me physically. Like, have you seen me?
Nabila.
I'm excellent in every way. So I was attracted to him physically.
Yeah.
He looked good. He was smart. He took care of himself. He did shower. I like guys that smell good and shower. So it was good.
I'm just laughing at the comment that you said he did shower. In the entire 111 episodes of this podcast, I've never ever heard somebody say that. I'm so proud this guy showered.
Yes.
Ah,
It's a thing. Tinto.
have you been around people that don't shower?
Yes.
Hey.
Yes. Do you know how hard it is to hug a guy when you're hugging him and you can guess the armpits smell hits you. You can't stay in that hug for a long time. You have to quick in and out. Very, very quickly. So couldn't even cuddle.
That's a mad thing.
No, but this one is for the men out there that are listening.
Yeah.
If you're a man listening, shower, guy. You don't even worry about expensive like cologne or whatever. Just shower, put some roll on. You be good. Yeah.
I've heard this as a thing around. I shouldn't generalize this too much. No, in fact, I'm not even going to say it. Just in case I shoot myself in the foot. So please allow me. Yeah, no, allow me to skip that bit.
You should have told me. I'll say it for you.
All right. So this guy, you physically try. It sounds like you guys have a good thing going.
Yeah. It sounded like.
So how did it start going wrong?
So a month into the relationship, so the pattern of the financial grooming had started. So when Magdela started saying things like, can you borrow me £10? I'll pay you back as £15. So initially in my head, I was like, come on, he's my man. I'm not going to ask for £15 back. Even the £10 was like, it's just £10. So I'd give him, but he would give it back as £15.
Oh, he would. So
Definitely.
So he was a man of his word at that point. Yeah.
And then he would come back again and go, oh, but something just happened. I need £20. I'll give it to you back as. So I knew in my mind, I'd give it to him as £20 and I'll get my £25 back.
In what length of time? He said, I'll give you back your money in a week. I'll give you your money in a month.
Couple of days.
Oh, couple of
days. Days a week. And so never once did I ever think that he would never give me back my money. Because he was asking, and a lot of the figures he was asking for were like £20, £30. Small money. Small enough to build the trust.
Do you know what I'm getting?
Yeah.
I am getting Tinder swindler vibes real quick. Do you know what except that the Tinder swindler went hard from
Yes.
day one.
Yes.
So he would get you to trust him based on huge amounts of money.
Yes.
But this guy is doing it with small amounts of money.
Small.
But fundamentally, it's the same thing. Build
Yes.
the trust of the individual before you really unleash the dragon.
Of course, yeah.
Ooh, shem.
Then he
Okay.
started unleashing the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
The first dragon that he unleashed was his rent. So remember, he had finished his master's and he was just waiting to get a job.
Okay.
And I know for one, initially he used to say he's looking for managerial jobs. In my head, I'm like, doesn't matter. Like, you can go work in a warehouse and that's okay, until you get the jobs you want. So his rent came through and he needed to pay. So I gave him money for rent.
Let's talk rental figures here because we've been talking £10, £20. How much rent was due?
I think his rent then, I cannot remember, but I think his rent was about 400.
400 quid.
Yeah, I think it was about 400.
Right. Let's just do a little math here.
Uh-huh.
So on a regular, it's asking for 20, 30, 20, 30.
Yeah.
Did he go 30, 60, 90, 100, 200, then eventually got to 4? Or it was from £50, boom,
Yeah,
up to 400.
£50 boom up to 400.
And that
But
didn't creep you out?
Not even. Do you know why? Remember, I'm like, he's going to pay me back because he always paid back. And just the way he would ask for the money and the way he would say things, like it gave me confidence. So by that time, this is where the grooming bit, I feel like at that time, you're convinced mentally that it's okay. I'm going to get my money back.
You say the way that he said stuff, was he a generally charming fella or you were just that lost into him? That anything that came out of his mouth
I wasn't that lost into him,
No?
But he was charming. He was gentle and he was never, so when he was asking for money, and he's paying, I guess when a guy comes and asks for money, I think for you guys, pride and ego, and you'd kind of see it in him where he's kind of like coming across as, I don't want to do this right now,
but I need to.
So there was this look of being genuine and that I fell for. And then remember, he had built a picture of this guy who's independent, very strong man. So for him to ask for money is a big deal for him.
Right.
So I think that was the grace that I had over that situation. I thought, I know I'm going to get it back. So I gave him to pay his rent.
Yes.
We have to take care of our men.
And at this point, was he working?
So he wasn't working. He was looking for jobs. And this is where we were having the discussion of where I remember a person coming to me and I was saying to him, stop applying to managerial jobs. Like, if you haven't worked, you can't just go to a management job. You're going to have to start at the bottom and work your way up. And two, as a female, I didn't have a problem with that as well. I was saying to him, even if it's a warehouse, even if you're starting from the bottom and you're not earning this amount of lump sum that you want to earn, and that was a problem. He just always wanted this lump sum and everything. And I said to him, just start at the bottom. So eventually he started applying for warehouse jobs, agency stuff, and he was getting some. So it was looking like, yes, by the time the month end comes, there's going to be some money to pay me back.
Oh, yeah, that was hence me asking the question.
Yeah.
Okay, so you could tell that there was some money coming, so you felt confident.
Yeah.
Did the money come back?
No. So the money didn't come back.
Well, I'm not talking about in the month. I'm talking about ever.
No, this particular one didn't come back.
And how did that impact you? Were you like, Were you like, look, it's a one-off. I trust this guy.
Yeah, I went with it's a one-off. I trust this guy, and he's trying to build his life. So, and then there was this mindset that says, I'm a woman. I have to help my man build. I don't want to be that girl that runs away when the guy is struggling. If we build together, years later when we're rich and famous and whatever, we can have the story that says, we did it together.
You know what the funny thing for me is? This is not even a guy that you're really into. Because you've hinted to me he was a rebound guy.
Yeah.
And I still kind of get the sense you weren't really that into him.
Yeah.
But you're building these sandcastles. So maybe let's revisit this. I wasn't really into him. Are you sure? Why all the effort?
No, I liked him, but I think a lot of the effort came from the fact that I failed on my last relationship. So for me, there was stuff on rejection or I failed.
But you
And-
hadn't failed.
So so now I agree with you. I hadn't felt at that moment in time
You felt you
leaving a serious relationship to when I was about to get married, and suddenly I'm not, and everyone around me is like, "What went wrong?" It had made me feel like one, there's rejection. Two, I failed. So when someone comes along and looks like he fits the little boxes that I want, I'm like, I'm gonna make this work no matter what.
Mad thing.
Yeah.
Rah, okay.
That was sad. So yeah, we did the money thing. It didn't come back. From there on, I think financially it moved from that to moments of a phone bill needing to be paid,
Jesu wangu.
and of course I paid. He was my man.
And we're thinking, well, phone bill is only 25, 30 pounds. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's not the big hitter, the rent, which has just
Yeah.
Okay, right. So phone bill comes in. What else comes in for payment?
So in terms of financially, what was happening was he knew he ended up knowing how much I was earning.
How?
So part of his degree was like in things like in accounting stuff. And then I was asking him because I was self-employed. So, when you've got your man, you go, oh, how do you do this? How do you do tax and everything? And he's like, oh, I know how to do it. I can do it for you. Thankfully, I had already had somebody talk about having an accountant elsewhere. So I went for that option. But I would always say to him, okay, this is how much I got paid, because we'll discuss that. And he would ask. And then you'd actually see him calculate how much.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So he would kind of reverse engineer it until he got to the gross amount that you probably
Yes,
got.
because he would even say to me, okay, how much an hour do you get paid? And then he'd be like, okay, write that, and then put times 10, times, okay, times this. And then
the guy's busy calculating how much longer he can milk this for, yeah?
he proper calculated. I remember actually a day when he was actually calculating how much I earn. And then he was like, okay, yeah, wow. So monthly, this is it. So, and if you work like this is how much you can get. And then yearly. So it's like,
So here's the question. Did he still encourage you to go to work then?
yeah.
Surprise.
My guy was on it.
The guy knew that there was something for him. Hey, okay. So
he was very encouraging.
So phone bill, a few other bills come in.
Yeah, a few other bills come in. And then I think, so at this time, I'm starting to think, oh, financially, I'm losing some money. But I think I was just wondering how to go about the whole thing, because there's a whole lot of other things happening, which I'm going to tell you about. But I remember going for Valentine's, and I actually didn't want to celebrate Valentine's.
Reason being?
Because I knew he wasn't going to be able to financially pay for anything.
And what were you getting him?
So this is the thing. At this time, I'm paying for everything already. So I'm like, I might as well save up. Like, we don't have to do Valentine's outside. We can do Valentine's in the house. And then he was like, oh, babe, I want to take you out. You've been so good to me. I'm going to take you out. And I was like, really? And I remember calling a friend of mine and I was like, the guy says he wants to take me out for Valentine's. And my friend laughed and she says, you're paying your own bill.
I'm trying to avoid really breaking out into a good laugh.
So
because I have a cough I'm struggling to shake off. But,
Yeah.
but so did you end up paying for your own Valentine's?
I did because we got there, like we ordered food.
But your friend has warned you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then we thought, see, my friend and I used to tell each other and go, we should say to each other, because she was in a similar situation. So we'd go to each other and say, you know what? Let's just try. Let's just keep trying as women, like support our men.
Wait a minute. Similar
So-
situation in the sense that she had a guy who was a matela.
Yes. And she was paying.
So which one of you two was in the worst position, you or her?
I think she was worse because the guy moved in with her. Like, but
It's been such a long time since I had an episode like this where the women are doing the most with the money.
Yeah.
It almost feels like a refresher. Do you know what I mean? I'd forgotten that, there are real situations like that.
yeah, we can spend as women. And I don't think there's a problem. See, I don't mind spending on my men.
Yeah, come on, look. It's a problem when you are spending way more than you're being spent on. Not that it's
Yes.
a competition.
No.
And not to say that the men has the role of spending more than the
No,
woman. But look,
no.
it feels very one-sided right now.
It's very one-sided. Because I paid for my own Valentine's dinner, and I paid for it by when we got there, he couldn't find his wallet. And I used to hear these stories and think, how silly are you as a girl to go out? And then the guy, your cop is gonna kill you.
I told you.
So Bill came.
So when you said I can't find my wallet, what did you say to yourself?
I knew it.
We're like, oh, here we go.
Do you know what? I was already prepared. In my mind, something.
Describe the look on his face when he said, "I can't find my wallet." Was it a genuine? I can't find my wallet.
I did.
Or you could tell, come on.
Like you've asked to take me out. You know how you're gonna leave the house without checking your wallet, like picking up, like and making sure you've got the card to pay for it. And then that time we didn't have the phones where you can tap with the phone.
Oh yeah,
so that option wasn't there. Yeah. So when we left the house, I mean, I had my purse, which had my cards. Why wouldn't you have your wallet? And so when the bill was coming, he started tapping. You know when you tap your pocket.
So you saw him tapping.
I knew it.
We always start by tapping the chest as guys, because we're expecting to be in our jacket or something. So
and then the guy, you can tell like the guy is looking for something, and I just knew it. I just knew it. And the last thing that I wanted was to be embarrassed. So I was just like, I've got it. I've got this. He's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I forgot my wallet. I'll pay you back. And
was it a big bill?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't a big bill. I'll tell you why. I was very careful with what I was ordering.
Because you had the suspicion that you might be the one to pay for myself.
So if I could have gone for 2 drinks, I would have. But I thought, you know what? Let's go with my pocket. I know how my pocket can manage.
Did he order stuff that was within reason, or he ordered unreasonably?
No, he ordered stuff that was within reason.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
So maybe as he was doing it, he felt bad. It's like, okay, I don't want this to break the bank because I know that it might be too much.
No, I don't think he thought it would be too much. Remember, he's calculated how much I earn monthly. And in his head, what I earn was quite a lot. And I do think at that time, what I did earn was quite a lot. So it wasn't like scary. I mean, if he did, he would have done the math of his rent, my bills. He still would have known I would have had quite a bit left.
Were you guys having sex?
Yes, at this point we were.
So after that Valentine special thing, did you guys have Valentine sex?
I think we did. I'll tell you why. Because for me, sex isn't like money, sex, the way it's usually put together, it doesn't work like that for me.
Explain.
Like sometimes, I mean, I could be completely wrong, but sometimes I think if you take a girl out and whatever, and you spend money, it's easier to have sex with her. For me, it's not that. If I want to have sex with you, I'm going to have sex with you.
Regardless of whether you've spent on you.
Yeah. So for me, it's not a money exchange thing. It's, I want to have sex, I'm having sex with you.
Hey, Sha, when you put it like that, it doesn't sound right to say that.
I know.
Yeah, to say that sex is not a money exchange thing. Well, it almost sounds like if there's an exchange of money, then that warrants having sex. And you know what that sounds like.
I know, it sounds bad, isn't it?
It sounds terrible.
Equally, I have friends that I know that if you're a guy and you get out there and you don't pay, you're not having sex. So I know there's that. And it, like I'm saying, I'm not generalizing.
Yeah.
So people are different. But I also have friends who even now they will laugh at me, and they've laughed at me to say, what, you had sex and the guy didn't even pay for anything. Whereas I'm like, I enjoy sex, so I'm not gonna wait for you to be like, I'm gonna pay to have sex.
You basically say to yourself, I'm feeling a type of way, you're here, and I'm feeding you like that, so if I want to have it, I have it with you, regardless of
whether the wallet was there or not.
Mud.
Yeah.
Okay, so Valentine's happens.
Yeah, so Valentine's happens. I paid, and then so at that time, then what was also happening in the background? This is where one of the lessons of know when to leave. The very first month, I just had this sense that he was cheating on me, that he was doing something with someone else.
What gave you that sense? Because that sense just doesn't come out of nowhere.
So I was home. And I remember I was just asking God about the relationship, and I was saying, should I be in this relationship or not? And I remember feeling like God was saying, no, this is not for you. And I shut it down. Like I remember saying to a friend of mine, I just really feel like God saying this isn't for me. I shouldn't be here. And we shut it down with the excuse of I'm worried about failing. So I think you have to always remember to go with stuff I'm going to share today. You're going to remember that the background of it is I'm coming from a broken place where I'm feeling I failed. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this work.
So how then would you know that God's voice is speaking to you when you already know that your objective is to not make it fail?
Because God's voice is not going to lie to you. I feel like, for one, if you spend time with somebody and you're close to them, you know their voice, you know their heart. So, for example, like, would I have known God's voice at that time? Yes, very clearly for me, because I spent a lot of time with God and I build that intentionally. So, and if I was saying God said He's the man for me and then comes out wrong, then I think that's a valid question. But in this instance, God is saying no, and I'm saying yes, but I'm very much aware that God has just said to me, this might not be for you. This is not your thing.
I think you already knew that though.
See, I did.
Because remember at the beginning of this conversation, you said you knew this guy was a rebound.
Yeah.
And you knew that you're in a vulnerable space where you knew that, okay, what society is pressuring you to do hasn't happened.
Yeah.
And that's how you're able to get into this thing real quick.
Yeah.
To kind of help you soften your emotions. So
Yeah.
subconsciously, I think you knew that this wasn't going to be your thing.
I knew. And then right at the beginning, that's when I actually did pray about it, and it was a no.
Okay.
But I thought, no, I'm going to turn that no to a yes.
Ish.
So
you got the sense that he was cheating. Was he cheating?
yeah, actually he was. So I got the sense he was cheating, and part of it was like, just ask him. Let me just go ask him straight up. So I went over to his place over the weekend, and I said to him, this is what I've been feeling. And remember this, I'm saying this is a guy that I'm praying with as well. Like we're,
but let me just speak for myself as Tinto, yeah? If you just randomly rock up to me as my woman, yeah, and you're like, God says to me, I should ask if you're cheating.
I did. Say Tinto. I didn't put it that way.
Okay.
I didn't put it that way. I just said to him, you know what? I just haven't been sleeping well. I just have this thought in my head. I could be wrong. And I was really polite about it and respectful. And I said, I could be completely wrong, but I just feel like, is there someone else in your life that you haven't told me about? I think that's how I put it to him. And then he said, no, I promise you, there is no one else in my life. You're the only woman in my life. And I said to him, are you sure? And he says, yes, you're literally the only person in my life. And I said, okay. I didn't argue. We didn't have an argument. I said, okay. Went to sleep. Following day in the morning, the phone rang at about 5 a.m. And he had just gone in because he'd just come from a shift. He'd gone in to have a shower. The phone keeps ringing. Text messages keep coming in. I'm sleeping. I'm thinking, goodness grace, who are you? And is it urgent? Because I now knew the sister, and I was thinking, if it's a sister, I'll answer the phone, not a problem. If it's a mom, I'll answer the phone. So I turn around, pick up the phone, and lo and behold, messages from someone else.
What are the chances?
So obviously, I read all the messages.
You knew his PIN code?
No, it was open. That's the thing. There was no...
His phone was unlocked in general?
No. And I think it was a mistake that he actually left. So the number, he didn't even put the name on the number because I knew the name of the ex. So he had removed the name. So it was just a number. So there was, and I was reading all these messages.
What were the messages saying?
They were, I miss you. And then he even said, I'll never love anyone like I loved you, or I love you. You're always my, that whole, he was proper charming her. It was.
But was he saying loved or love you?
Love you. Yeah.
So he's still in love with this woman?
Yes.
And by this point, you obviously didn't know who it was because it was just a number, right?
I knew who it was.
How?
Remember he had someone else before.
Yes.
So in my head, when I was reading these messages, it had to be an ex-girlfriend.
Yes.
But it seems like, I don't know if there's an ex now or she wasn't really an ex or whatever. But in my head, I was like, it can only be that particular girl.
Why?
One when on his Facebook, for example, they used to have he never deleted the pictures that they were. I know this is going to be another conversation, but he
Yeah.
had pictures of them be together and on their engagement. They'd been engaged. He had been engaged before to this girl. So there were pictures. So when we got together and there was pictures and everything, and then he wanted to post a picture of me and him, I said to him, it's kind of weird for me that my picture's there and then there's like a whole lot of other pictures. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I can't tell you what to do with your Facebook. But I was like, why don't you just like, I don't know, at least delete these ones if you're going to post me or something like that. Other than that, don't post me. So I already knew who she was. And it just so happened she was connected to another friend of mine. So when this guy knew another friend, so then my friend was like, oh, you're going out with this dude? I was like, yeah. And he goes, oh, the ex or the ex-fiance is my friend. I'm actually close to the ex-fiance. I was like, oh, okay. So when I saw these messages, it was easy for me to also call my friend and say, hey, your friend, ex-fiance, is texting, do you know? And then it was easy to then have everybody go, oh yeah, actually they're still talking like that. So I asked him, obviously, and he didn't deny. He manned up and he said, I'm really sorry, I'm messed up. And he started to cry and then he thought, let me pray.
So what were the tears for?
I don't know, I guess the tears were for hurting me or for being caught. But anyway, I think to him, it was like his way of showing me that he's sorry. Because he then started praying. He was like, let's just pray. We need to just pray. I was like, okay, let's pray. And then his prayer is like, God, forgive me for what I've done to this woman. I'm really sorry. And he's crying. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe he is genuine. You know, people make mistakes. So I didn't leave. I stayed.
Based on tears and a prayer.
Remember, I would do anything to make this work.
You see, this is why I was questioning the voice of God from the onset. So God has told you, this ain't for you.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He's spoken to you and has inspired you to ask the question, are you
Yeah.
cheating on me? God has revealed to you that the man is cheating on
Yeah.
you, which would make that response fit into what he's saying to you, that leave the situation.
Yeah.
So why did you decide to go against what God was saying to you?
Because for me, I was going to make this man my man. So it's like, I don't know how to stress. You know, sometimes when you want something to work so bad, and I don't think it would have been him. It could have been another different guy. For me, that particular moment, I was broken, and I wanted to feel something in me.
So
something had to work.
So what exactly was your prayer to God?
No, I don't know. My prayer to
Because-
God was about, I don't know, finding a man, getting married, and being happy. And I thought by doing, and it wasn't, and I'm saying to you, when I look at it now, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with what I was thinking, what I was doing. But I recognize that it happened that way because I was longing to be accepted by this man and to be loved and to be married and then have no one laugh at me. And then it's almost like it was going to overshadow the past relationship that didn't work out because suddenly I've got this thing that's working out and I'm married. And that was a problem. So never mind him, what he was doing. I knew I was completely in a bad space, which wasn't right for him as well. You know, it wasn't fair for him. So I did it my way. My way didn't work. Yeah. So I kept on. I stayed. We continued with the girl. And
Wait. Wait a minute. Did you just say he continued with the girl?
yeah, he said he was going to break up with her, but he didn't.
How do you know he didn't?
Because remember the number? I'm female, by the way. I memorized the number. I memorized that number. Girls, remember that number. Don't let it go.
Wow.
I remember the number.
Yes.
And then each time I'd visit him, I'd go on his landline. And you know what? Now when I'm older, I'm like, I'll never do that to myself again. But I'd go on the landline and I'd scroll. And guess what?
And
Lo
look at
behold,
the dialed numbers.
her number was more than my number being dialed.
Wow.
Like, it was that painful.
You see, there's a saying in genre, and I don't know how to say it in Isindebele. You might be able to translate. But it goes, Ukatsaga mararambin unomawana. which in England,
Yeah.
in English, is just basically saying if you go in a trash can, you will find trash.
Yes. Yeah. And that's literally what was happening.
So,
So, and at this point, also, I had given him, so I had broadband, which came with a SIM card
yeah.
and 100 free minutes. So I gave him my SIM because he needed a phone. So he asked for like the SIM to use.
So you could go online and check who's making calls on the SIM.
I wasn't doing it to check. I was doing it to support my man
Ah,
who didn't have. No, I'll tell you why. Because he had a pay as you go, and so he'd always say to me, "Oh, babe, I couldn't call you." So, or he'd always say to me, "Babe, I'll bleep you and you call me back." Right? So we did that.
Wait a minute. You said this guy, okay, when you're about to pay his rent for him,
Yeah.
you put 2 and 2 together, excuse me, to say that he's going to be paid in a few weeks' time from this job.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you're talking to me now, I'm assuming this guy has got a job.
Yeah, but it wasn't paying him that much. So it wasn't paying him that much to pay me for what had already been gone and then to manage his own bills. So it was just enough to manage his bills.
So, he's your dependent.
Yeah, okay.
Were you living together?
No, we were not living together. I was
Where were
taking
you
care.
living?
I had my own place
And where was he living?
in his own place. So I was paying for my bills and then
Okay,
to-
okay,
yeah.
right. I'm not going to get hung up on that. So,
yeah, SIM card. He got the
Yes.
SIM card. And then the phone bill came. £250 phone bill came, and
what?
I remember. So, and this is one of the reasons at the end when we were breaking up, because I was saying to him, "How are we going to pay this, and who's going to pay for it?" But it's under my name, so I have no choice but to pay. And because I can't wait for him to give me the money because he doesn't have the money. And then so he was claiming fraud and claiming that they made a mistake. And then so I remember calling the phone company, and whilst I was talking to them, I was saying to them, "Can you just shut it down for a little while?"
Yeah.
So whilst I was calling them, they shut it down. Then he called them. He's like, "Hey, you've shut down." And it's so weird because I was on the call with the call center, on the call center.
Yeah.
And then he called, and then he was saying it's fraud and someone else. And this one else, so I'm talking to someone else. So the two customer service advisors were like, "Hang on a second, we've got two people online, same number. What's going on?"
The weird thing for me, they would have needed to go through checks
Yeah, so he knew.
to confirm that this is this person's account,
Yeah.
right? So he knew the right things to say.
Yes. Yeah. So again, okay, I'm gonna tell you another layer. So he had information like the passwords I'd given him.
Oh, come on, Nabila.
I know. I'd given him access to like a bank account stuff.
What do you mean access to your bank account? So,
So-
he oh man.
So I
So not only did this guy manage to work out what you earned,
yeah.
he could also check and verify that this is what's in, this is what's gone out, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, and then he had the account he had access to was at that time I was opening another account because I was like trying to save up a different bank. In my mind, I thought if I have a different bank account to save up some stuff and save some money in there. So I was going to be moving nearer to him, not in the same city, but nearer. And
Why are you doing all the work?
I
Just hold up. Okay, why are you doing so much work? And I think what's bothering me here now is the fact that you know he's a rebound. The fact you know you're not emotionally invested. The fact you know this is a dying horse. But you're doing everything to keep this dying horse alive.
yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It goes back to I don't know, I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want to seem like I failed. So I wanted to make something work. And I remember with my friend, this was a conversation where we're like, we always leave relationships too early, maybe sometimes. Because initially in the past, if something before that, if some guy was going shady, it was very
Yeah.
quick for me to go, "No, this is not for me. I don't accept this," and walk away. And then so suddenly I'm like, okay, maybe I'm getting older and maybe I've been too difficult. Let me try and fight. You hear women telling stories about how they fought and how they and then you realize actually it was toxic, So in my mind, I was fighting for something. So in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm loving him. I'm going to stand by him no matter what. We're going to make this work. And part of it was me sacrificing so much. And I didn't see it.
I must tell you, you've got an incredible mind in the sense that it's telling you two very different views. One part of your mind is telling you this ain't working. And that part of your mind is supported by God's voice. But then you got another part of your mind which is telling you that you're really in love with this guy and you need to push and make it work. How do you do that?
I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know.
Mud thing. Okay, so
So
I almost don't know. I almost don't know where to go with this.
So SIM card bills come to 50.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, whose number is more on there? The other girl's number. My number props in here and there. But remember, he would bleep me and I'll still call him. So he still never used the 100 minutes on me. Such a shame. And then
Wow. I am speechless.
And then he's got access to some of my savings. So I was moving, so I put some money in. He knew how much it was because we were doing it together. And this is the thing, when you're in a relationship, you financially open up to things very quickly, and then you share information very quickly. Right at the beginning, you think that's healthy. So we did that.
Man, don't do them things.
Well, no, now we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't do that.
It's great to be one with your person, but at the end of the day, we are all individuals.
Yeah,
we all need a certain sense of privacy.
Yeah.
And financial matters is one of those. I think it's great for couples to have a joint account that they do stuff collectively in.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you got stuff that you want to do.
Yeah.
You know, that you should be able to do without me asking questions because it's your money. You know, and I appreciate you had your money, you're really sharing money with him, but to give him such a level of access.
Yeah.
Okay, is this just who you are as a person? Okay?
No.
Forget about Matela, just you as a person. If you're to get into a situation, and I don't know what your situation is now, let's say you are with someone now, right? Do they have the same level of access to your financial information?
No, I think now it's a lot more defined for me. So,
and it's just based on your Matela experience.
Matela was a bigger, so before Matela, I never even used to do that.
Yeah.
So that was never a thing. Even with the guy I was with for years, that was never a thing.
So I guess now it makes sense why you're talking about the financial grooming stuff, because it got you to a place where you felt it was safe to disclose this. Okay.
So this is where, because remember, it was like £10, £20, and you always give it back. It never a problem until when he stopped giving it back. And then it took me a while to then notice that actually he's no longer, and actually my money is going. And so, and by this time I've shared bank accounts. By this time he said, okay, babe, I'll help you out with your finances. I'll help you out build your credit. I'll help you out do this. I'll help you out. Because he knows a lot more financial accounting stuff than I do.
It makes sense now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and sadly what then happened is when I then moved closer to the city, a week before I found out that all the money I'd saved is gone.
Hey.
Because my girl decided that he needed the money without asking me at all. He got in and took the money, and then he said that he borrowed his mother the money because his mother needed the money, which was not a true story when I found out later on from his sister.
Are you okay telling me figures?
I need to remember the figures correctly.
Are we talking 3 digits, 4 digits?
I think then I saved about 2K. And these were supposed to help me pay my rent. Because I was booked as a contractor, so I was moving from one place to another.
So you needed rent in advance, etc., etc.
So my thinking financially was, if I pay my rent a month or 2 months in advance, I never have to worry about my landlord. I never have to worry about certain things. It means that I can survive even if I'm waiting for my next contract, which would usually be like another couple of weeks. If not, I'm okay.
How many days was it between the money moving and you finding out that it's been moved?
Yeah, maybe 2 weeks. because because
Because I was so confident asking about number of days because I'm thinking you're gonna tell me 1 or 2
1 2
days.
days.
You are talking weeks.
Do you know why? Because that account was not in my. I was not looking at it. Like I was not.
Because it's something
then-
that you just accumulate, and in
Yes.
your mind it's building up because you
It's
don't
building
touch
up.
that money.
Yes, and then 2, I was going to touch that money the week when I'm moving.
So
the week when I was moving is when I'm going. Oh, now let's see what I have.
So you
because-
found out before he told you,
Yes.
"Aye, this man is a thief."
Yes. And then so when I'm calling him, he then says, "Oh, my mother needed." And when someone says, "My mother needed the money," how do you go, "Yo, dude"? You can't. How do you say your mother? It's not your money to, And like now, it was never his money to give to his mother. I think in any relationship,
It was going to the chick.
it was either going to the
Was it
chick.
going to the
Like,
chick?
I don't break my heart.
No, was it going to the chick?
I don't know what
You
he did.
don't know?
He says he's at the end. When he was apologizing, he says he gambled the money away, and he had a gambling problem.
Did he really?
I don't know. I feel like by the time you're saying sorry to me and you're telling me excuses, I don't know whether to say yes or no.
Please don't tell me you didn't get that money back.
I think when we were breaking up, I was trying to get some of the money back. It gave me some, but then there was way a lot more. So there's a lot more money that came into play.
I'm sorry I'm asking for specifics. I wouldn't normally do this, but nah. When you say it's giving you some, right? Let's just quantify some.
I'm trying to remember. I think maybe I got 700 because there was also a 2,000, 1,500, 2,000 loan I taken out for him. Yes.
Nabila.
Yes.
Nabila.
I can just see you shaking your head.
Oh my God.
So I took out a loan for him.
Right. I'm just going to ask you something because I'm looking at our time, right?
Mm.
You have avoided telling me a lot of financial stuff. And I feel there's a reason behind it.
I think one, because I can't remember a lot of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you ask for figures, I couldn't tell you. But I know by the time I left that relationship, I was in debt. That's one thing for sure I can tell you. I was in debt, and it took me a couple of years to pay it back. My credit was hit hard. So from that relationship, on its own, this is where I'm saying why you need to know when to leave, when it's time to leave. And the financial grooming, for me, it completely, for someone who was fresh and I was also just starting my professional life, so I was earning really well. I was in a good place and I was saving up very well. I could have been buying my own house.
Yeah.
And then suddenly dating somebody for a couple of months, when we break up, I'm in debt. My credit is bad.
So how long was this relationship?
I can't even remember. I think it was like 8 months.
Almost a year.
Yeah. Because I remember only one Valentine's. So
Sorry.
there's probably like
Sorry, I didn't mean to. But the way you said it, it's all in the way you said it.
yeah.
I really didn't mean to do that, but the way in which you said that you're not to remember one Valentine. One Valentine's
I wasn't gonna go for round 2.
that you took yourself out on.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is actually not a funny story.
It's actually not. It's a very painful story.
It really isn't. And the thing about where we are is these systems work with checks and balances.
Mm.
The moment you spend more than you earn,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what you do, it's near impossible to cover that position until you either find a different job or you find additional forms of income
Yeah.
to take you above that.
Yeah.
So say you earn £1,000 and you spend £10 more in a month than you earn. That £10 could easily take you a whole year to
Yeah.
cover. And I know people say, "Come on, Tinto, that's not possible." It's very, very possible.
Yeah.
But when I came here, I kind of got into a situation where I ended up taking a payday loan, which was only £250. But because my income was fixed, and that 250 became an additional expense, I didn't come out of it for a good 18 months.
That's a
Until
lot.
after I
Yeah.
changed a job, and that's only £250.
Yeah.
And so far, I've calculated at least £4,000 based on the 2,000,
Yeah.
the 1,500 loan that you took out. That's 3,500. The £400 rent.
Yeah.
That's 3,009. The phone bills that can have £10 at least. Right, I'm gonna say about £5,000.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
just to put it at a round figure.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to cover that off?
It took me years. I think I actually paid off my last debt because remember, like you're saying, whilst trying to pay off what he took now, because I'm struggling in my own end.
You're now taking out
I'm
some.
now taking on accumulating stuff. So when I was asking him to help me pay, it became very difficult, and his excuses were around. I want to be very sensitive with this, but part of the excuses were around that he was going through depression. He was going through. He had this gambling thing. He was apologizing for cheating. So there's quite a lot where even trying to push for the money became very difficult. And then two, I wanted nothing to do with him. And that's the thing. Because I wanted nothing to do with him, I just thought, you know what? Let me just walk away. But it took me, I don't know, 6-7 years to have a clear financial account and even think about my credit. So an 8 months relationship that financially drained me took me years to deal with everything. Well, to deal with the financial side of it.
Do you hate this man?
I don't hate him, but I do not like him. So I don't hate him. I've seen him. I've bumped into him. Love his sister. Him, I want nothing to do with him. And I think that's allowed.
So I'm assuming you broke it off with him?
Yes, yeah.
What did you say the reason was?
Those were all the reasons. One, he was starting to have a drinking problem that we spoke about. I don't know that he was starting to, or that it has always been there and I never saw it. And then he had a temper. One of the reasons was that he fought with somebody for saying hi to me at a party. This guy, and even this guy who came and said hi to me, I haven't seen him in years. I still don't know where he is at. And I'm sorry if you listen to this and you remember this story. The guy just came to say hi to me, and he was then saying, "You've got a boyfriend?" Because I said to him, "Oh, this is my boyfriend." The guy wasn't saying you have a boyfriend as in, "I want you, you have a boyfriend." He was saying, "I've never seen you with any men." And I said to him, "Yeah, because the last one I had was out of the country, so no one would have ever seen me with anyone." So he was just kind of saying that, and then this one goes, he's disrespecting me.
Yeah, he got triggered, yeah.
He got very triggered. It was a massive thing. And then we got into an accident going home because he'd been driving, and it was crazy. So by the time we broke up, there was a pile of things happening. And I think that's when I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is completely the opposite way I live my life, and this is not for me. So then we broke up, but then I was broke.
You know, your lesson is that it's risky to date and development. Yeah, a Shauna guy can do exactly the same as what this guy did.
Yeah.
A Shauna man could do exactly the same.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know there's some shock value in classifying specifically to Ndebele men because that's the experience that you've had. But I'm going to propose layering something on top of that to say that it's risky dating any man.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
It really is because, honestly, an Englishman could do this to you, a Ndebele man could do this to you, an Indian man could do this to you.
Yeah. The sad bit is my experiences.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately that it has been...
Experiences. You just said experiences or experience.
Okay, the one major experience.
Yeah.
The other little ones, before him was that each time I think I would go on a date with a Ndebele guy, there was always some excuse about finances.
And that's what always happened.
Yes, so I was like, and then my friends would say the same. And by the way, I'm Ndebele, so I'm not. It's not like.
Yeah.
But I get you. But you're right. Dating any man is risky.
Yeah. Well, people speak out of experience, and I guess you just speak in your experience with this.
So yeah.
Yeah. Nah.
Yeah. I feel like one of the lessons really should have been like on money and literally on spending. Don't spend because paying back is painful.
Yeah. Well, at least you got yourself out of that rut. You sound like you've managed to weave out of your debt.
Yeah.
That it got you into. And just as we close this out, I'll just play back the 3 lessons that came out of the situation with Matela. Now I get what Matela means, like proper. First up, it's risky dating and Ndebele man, and I've just layered that to say it's risky to date any man because you could end up in this situation. There are a couple of episodes where women have spent on guys and have ended up in a lot of debt. One of my guests told me offline that the debt ended up being a 4-digit number.
Nice.
Yeah. Lesson number 2, be conscious of financial grooming. You can't say this any better because Tinder swindler is evidence that this can happen. There's a guy who's out in South Africa right now. With the same thing.
Yes, yeah.
Same sort of thing. So, keep an eye out for that. And then lesson number 3, know when to leave and leave, especially if God's voice is telling you to do it.
Yeah.
Right
at the beginning.
2 things for me remain the most difficult thing to listen to. 1, God's voice.
Yeah.
And your own gut.
Yeah.
Because our carnal nature wants us to think we can outdo those based on empirical stuff we see, based on things we can evidence from our eyes and experiences. But hey, just trust your gut and listen to what God is saying.
Yeah.
Well, you've been listening to another episode of The Feeding Station. I'm your host, Tinto, and I look forward to catching you in next week's episode.
Tell me what you're feeling.
Satis andaro raini and chake zaini.
Tell me what you're feeling. Now that it's over.
Satis andaro raini and chake zaini.
Let me talk about my feelings. Let me talk about my feelings, yeah.
Urudoi motoru noto kujidziro amai.
Kujidziro amai. Love is a fire.
Urudoi motoru noto kujidziro amai.